Retail will belong not just to developers but also to placemakers. What we mean by that is the ultra-rich are not just buying homes, they're also buying into brands. Hospitality-driven living, where homes feel like five-star resorts, is the next big thing. In fact, India has emerged as one of the world's leading markets for branded luxury residences, and you must have heard of some of these. M2M India tying up with Lebanon-based fashion designer Ali Saab for branded projects in NCR and Mumbai. Whiteland Group collaborating with Marriott International to launch residences in Gurugram. Tum Tower in Gurugram, again by M3M and Tribeca developers. There's also M3M Jacob & Co residences in Noida. These are just some of the examples. But why is this shift being witnessed? Driving this shift is India's rapidly expanding wealth base. For the rich, luxury is no longer about premium finishes. It is about owning homes that reflect sophistication. Beyond aesthetics, designer branded residences have become closely tied to identity. Luxury homes are seen as status symbol, reflected in what we say, I live in a Trump Tower mindset. That's the mindset. As far as housing and real estate are concerned, let's not forget the figures that have been drawn by the government. Housing loans have grown to 11% of the GDP in financial year 25, up from 8% in 2015. Individual home loans have tripled to 37 lakh crore rupees. Under PMAU, 1.22 crore homes have been sanctioned and 96 lakh delivered. Now that's a separate area, but the real estate sector has been in a sustained upcycle since September 2021 with strong demand driven by affordability and also easing inflation. Now, luxury real estate, India has entered top 10 global markets for branded residences. That's why we're having this conversation today. Luxury projects are set to grow 200% by 2031, with home prices up 40% between 2022 and 2025. Sales also jumped 85% year on year in the first half of 2025, with Delhi NCR capturing 57% of the market. Tourism has emerged as a key growth multiplier, boosting real estate, hospitality and retail. It also drives jobs, urban consumption and investment, which continues to anchor economic growth. So what does retail and real estate look like in the next decade? Let's quickly bring in our guest this morning. Abhishek Kiran Gupta, CEO and co-founder CRE Matrix, joins us as our first guest. Good morning, Abhishek. Hi.
Good morning.
Also with us is Mr. Sriram PM Monga, co-founder and principal consultant at Thread Real Estate Advisory. So we're going to try and do some brainstorming, do a little bit of math and really put out those numbers for our viewers tuned in. Abhishek, first, let's clarify for all those. I mean, there is all kinds of people of all age groups watching our show, The Breakfast Club on CNN News 18. Let's decode this entire concept that we've brought to the table today. Retail districts, is that really a thing in India? Or are we still getting to the point of recognizing, let's say your malls or centers that come with a holistic experience as retail districts still? Are we still to get to that point?
Okay, so very excited to talk about India retail. Let me tell you, if retail has to grow in the world, and I'm saying this with fair bit of responsibility and seriousness, it has to be in India because 140 crore people live here. If you want to sell coffee, if you want to sell tea, you want to sell clothes, you cannot sell them in Greece. You cannot do that in Europe. You have to do it in India. Now coming to the experience. We Indians love shopping, we love cinema, and we like to do it with validation. We do not go alone to shop. We'll take a friend, we'll take a brother, you might take your spouse, and it's an entire barrage of people who go shopping. So yes, experiences are very important, and therefore, the Connaught places are converted to cyber hubs. The Kala Goras are converted to
BKC. Are the Connaught places or the INA markets still being looked at these retail hubs?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We love it when we wear those sweaters, pull up those wonderful jackets in the winters of Delhi, and we go walking, shopping, eating, drinking. So it's a Sunday affair. Now what? So this is the good part. What I really want to see in India also is destination retailing, which doesn't happen. Indians don't like to travel. We become lazy. We don't travel 30-40 kilometers to do our shopping. Americans do that, right? We do not travel to, what you call 30-40 kilometers away and say that, I'm going shopping today because I'm going to spend an entire day at an outlet center.
Yeah.
Now that will happen to India because Indians are traveling all over the world. They're experiencing all of those wonderful things in London, Dubai, United States, Singapore, Hong Kong, and they want those experiences in India. And it will happen. And the best part, you know what it is? It will not be limited to the metro cities of India. Because Indians are everywhere. It can be in Jalandhar. It can be in Amritsar. It can
But why
be in
haven't we
Nagpur.
seen it as yet? I mean, forget tier 2 cities. We've not seen it on the outskirts of tier 1 also. I mean, you'll see something like this in the heart of Gurugram or the heart of Noida or the national capital. Of course, it's had these traditional outlets, but we've also not been able to go past, let's say, 50 kilometers of Delhi NCR, right?
Yeah, so see, that's the problem, right? And I blame this to our developer friends, although I love them, but I do blame it to them because they got the whole retail format wrong from day one. They are used to building and selling. You cannot sell a mall. You have to, mall is like a hotel. You have to live with it for 10, 20 years. It's a whole gestation period. Manage the mall because once you sell it strata, it's gone, right? So that's what is lacking in India. Now you're seeing the likes of Lulu's and Phoenix and DLF. They are holding on to those malls. They're holding on to those assets. And therefore, those assets are doing exceedingly well.
Okay, let's go across to Sriram as well. Understand if he has some examples on top of his mind. Sriram, which Indian cities or retail districts are closest to global benchmarks as per your assessment and why? Give us reasons as well.
There are a few examples which I would like to quote, like the Mall of India in Noida, which is a very large retail ecosystem, draws more than 2 million people a month. I'm looking forward to see also the Worldmark development, which is coming, which has been built by the Bharti Group in the AeroCity area, which is a truly tourist district in making. It has all the attributes which probably looking forward for creating that experience which an international tourist is looking at.
Okay, lovely. So we've spoken a little bit about what needs to be done, where India is at currently in this entire ecosystem. Abhishek, I want to now switch over to what I'd spoken of just a while ago, which is branded residency. Branded homes. How old or new would you say this phenomena is? I mean, we're hearing of the Trump Towers, we're hearing of Four Seasons, we're hearing of all of this. Eli Saab, very close to where our office is right now, they're coming up with a project in Noida. What is driving this kind of a craze? Of course, spending capacity is one big factor, and that is very clear if we just go by, what the economic surveys also projected. But otherwise as well, Trump Residences Gurugram, for instance, saw record-breaking response on the launch day itself. And if I just go through a little bit of research and put out those figures, the total allotments amounted to 3,200 crore rupees. Matlab, even the most exclusive penthouses priced at 125 crore rupees were gone. Launch day.
Okay, this story is very new. However, India has always been rich, but that's the tip of the iceberg. But it's spread out now. What I mean is, it started with COVID, where COVID got this whole thing called FOMO, fear of missing out. And people then wanted to live in bigger homes. They wanted to live in expensive homes. Everything got larger. If Delhiites were used to living in a 3-bedroom apartment of 2,000 square feet, suddenly became 2,500 square feet. If people in Hyderabad lived in a 3-bedroom of 1,800 square feet, suddenly became 2,200 square feet. So yes, it is new. It started with the famous FOMO of COVID. But then please remember, post-COVID, the stock market has had a dream run. The number of IPOs that India has seen has been phenomenal. The number of startups that got funded has been phenomenal. And the government has made it so much easier for the developers to sell these homes, because if you have capital gains, the only place where you can save money, save taxes, is by investing in a house. So therefore, all of these factors, look at pharma. Pharma did phenomenal. Our farmers, let's not forget our farmers who have sold so much land to our developer friends over the last 5 or 6 years. Where is that money going? A lot of these factors collectively have reached. And then, again, I repeat, Indians are traveling we are the top 3 travelers in the world in terms of tourism.
Yeah.
And they go there, they experience the world there, they live in the
You want to
Airbnb.
replicate that experience. You
And
want
you want
to
it back
make it a
home.
reality, everyday reality. Lovely.
Absolutely. And we love partying. We have more festivals and reasons to party than anywhere in the world.
No, but when to party or to live, you're to literally take out nothing less than 10 crore rupees. It's supposed to pinch you a little bit. Sriram, what's driving this entire concept or the branded residences boom in India? Is it just limited to designs, or as Abhishek said, you travel out, you watch where you're staying, the experience they create for you, where you want to replicate it, global standards, future proofing, what is it?
I think what a consumer is looking forward for a professionally managed professionally managed residences, which has consistent service, concierge services, spas, healthcare, wellness centers. I think these are the more focus areas where a consumer is looking forward to upgrade their lifestyles. From a value perspective, I am very confident that the way this ecosystem has been built, it is going to give and sustain a long-term value for the investors as well.
Okay, Sriram, and very quickly, since we're already talking about this, what mistakes are Indian developers still making? Abhishek highlighted a few, but let's dig deep. What are the smartest shifts you're seeing? What are the big mistakes that need to be worked on?
See, from a commercial retail perspective, I think there are 2 types of developers. One is a conventional developer who's just developing any asset which is a short-term goal in the asset, where they are potentially not focusing on the long-term sustainability of the project. And the other developer is a placemaker who's basically creating something for the community, a social environment, which brings habits to a certain audience, and they come back again for those experiences. I think the value is there, and those values which further takes the experience of the consumer to different levels, solid programming in terms of retail, and solid programming around the social environment of that ecosystem is something which the consumer is expecting. There is and I'm pretty happy that the Indian developers are now transforming into placemakers, where they are focusing on these type of management details for the consumers, so that they come back again and again for any moment with the family or their friends, or socially they want to spend in these environments.
Like Abhishek was saying, more people want to invite people over to their homes and curate that experience for them. Abhishek, very quickly, what are you most excited about over the next 5 years or a decade, let's say, when it comes to real estate in India, especially branded homes? Because a lot of people say it's no longer a niche, but that's not fully correct, right? Only a few or the ultra rich can afford it still.
So before I talk about what am I super excited in the next 5 to 10 years for branded homes, let me quickly tell you about retail. I'm shouting at my top of the lungs that retail is here and only here because people are here, and that cuts across the economy, across the strata, in terms of the outlet stores all the way up to super luxury from Paris. The point is that we have made malls, we got them wrong, we get them right now. But we haven't made what I call as a strip mall, or a quasi between high street and mall. And I think Indians will love that. Bangalore city, Pune city, Delhi have great weathers, right? And people would love to do that. So I'm very, very bullish on retail, and therefore I'm also very bullish on warehousing in India. Now, coming to branded residences. India is getting richer. We are the actually the number 1 fastest growing economy probably at this size, but the 4th largest economy. We're going to be number 3 very, very soon. And the Indians are getting richer. You can look at the GST collections. You in the beginning of the, I think, shared some numbers in terms of the percentage of contribution in GDP and etc. And all of these guys would want to live in better homes, bigger homes, branded homes. Like, for example, in Bombay, I often say that living on the 40th floor is living in Khandala. You don't need to go to Lonavala anymore because the mountain, the mountain view, the sea view, and the mist and the clouds will be in your house.
I'm sure a lot of people disagree though, Abhishek. A lot of people still want to put in that effort and you go to the hills, experience that up close. But Abhishek, that's all the time we have. So we'll have to wrap up. It's a conversation we'll keep having over the next few years. Thank you so much for joining us, Abhishek and Sriram. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's move on. Today, we're also talking about a recipe for friendship diplomacy and yes, food. Japan's ambassador to India enjoying a plate of biryani and going fully desi. As you see on your screens, eating it with his own hands. The moment has gone viral. It's drawn smiles across social media. It's also a reminder that sometimes the quickest way to connect cultures is not policy or protocol, it's good food. At Davos as well, we saw world leaders enjoying the flavors of India. Japanese ambassador on your screens diving into biryani with his hands. Former Japanese Prime Minister Kishida also has spoken of how he just can't resist golgappas. French President Macron sipping chai from a kulhad. Obama, Kamala Harris, big fans of Indian food. The British ambassador totally hooked on the Mysore masala dosa. We've heard of some of these stories. So food here isn't just delicious, it is diplomacy on a plate. Why? Because it shows humility, builds goodwill, also demonstrates respect for local culture. It humanizes international relations, let's not forget that, and strengthens people-to-people connections. Finally, it also positions India and Indian food as a powerful tool of soft power globally. Across India, cultural embassies bring the country's diverse cuisines all under one roof. We'll take you through some examples. Andhra Pradesh Bhavan, for instance, you can enjoy unlimited veg thali. There's lots more. Sunday biryani. Karnataka Sangh also serves Mysore masala dosa, very famous ragi dosa. That's pretty much on their menu, what you see on your screens. There's also the Kerala Sadhya, there's Bihar Nivas, there is the Litti Choka in Bihar Nivas, which is served on a daily basis. Gujarat Bhavan serves traditional Gujarati thali. There is also the West Bengal Bhavan that features fish curry, kosha mangsho. All of this is served. Assam Bhavan, again Assamese thalis. So this is the kind of menu that J&K Bhavan, Bhavans across embassies across the country have come up with these wonderful ideas, concepts to really give the flavor of India and make sure it reaches to each one of us, especially the ones who are coming from abroad. Punjab Bhavan, once again, we've seen sarson ka saag, makki ki roti, all of this being served. So it's not just food, it's India's culture winning hearts worldwide. And when we talk about India's culture, it's not limited to food alone. Yoga, Ayurveda spreading wellness globally, Bollywood shining on Oscars, several world stages, classical dance, music, all taught in foreign universities now. There's also saris, khadi, making fashion statements around the world. So let's talk about this entire concept that's been unfolding, escalating, and only sharpening in the last few years. India's unspoken ambassador, food and more, through a diplomatic and artistic lens. To first up give us a diplomatic opinion on this story, joining me is Sanjay K. Verma, former Indian ambassador to Japan. Thank you, sir. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. You were keeping up with these brilliant visuals and I hope you've had your breakfast already, Ambassador Verma. But what do you make of this? You've traveled the world, you've interacted with some of these top officials across the world. Can you hear me, sir?
Food is a great leveler, and each country prides in its own food. But when the foreigners would appreciate your food and food culture, what you'll see is an instant connect between the personalities. And from there, we go ahead and do whatever we have to do diplomatically.
Okay. Would you say that food, and I know it may not sound like a big deal and people are just having food, they're just sharing their cuisine with the rest of the world. But why is it that these kind of visuals, what we're seeing on our screen, become such a big thing that everyone on the internet is obsessing over it? Food really, do you think, is one of India's softest diplomatic tool?
It is. And Indian food is famous all over the world. If I look at Japan, there are close to about 5,000 outlets in Japan which serve Indian food. So yes, Indian food is popular in Japan. And whenever you look at a foreign food and try to appreciate it, it goes much beyond just eating the food. It connects people with people. It connects taste buds. It connects the soft side of the diplomatic skills which you just mentioned. So it is much more than food. Food is just for the stomach. It goes into the mind and hearts.
So what's happening when at the World Economic Forum, in the main area, we see Indian khichdi being served? You know, we've pulled out those visuals on our screens right now. So it's not just Indian officials who are coming in for this khichdi. You see a Japanese official there. You see delegates from around the world opting for a khichdi and nothing else. There's samosa being served, there's masala chai being served. How is it that these cuisines, which typically have seen birth in India, have been famous here through the years, are resonating with the audience across the world? Have you had conversations with officials from other countries who say, this is what we like, this is why we like Indian food so much?
Absolutely. For Indian food, it is full of taste. It activates the taste bud for all kinds of tastes that you can take in, or all types of smells that comes with it. As far as khichdi is concerned, what could be a greater food than khichdi in cold divorce? So I think that would have been a hit. But going beyond India, if you look at the kind of khichdi recipes, many of other cultures also have similar rice recipes in which someone will put some meats, someone will put vegetables, someone will have it more drier, someone will have it more runny. So that khichdi kind of food is available in Spain, if you look at, in Russia, in Japan. And what people generally try to do is they try to test the other kind of khichdi which are available in the world. And Indian khichdi is full of spices, full of flavors, full of smells. And that is why I think it is more popular.
I don't know whether, food can completely replace policy conversations and completely sway the world order. If biryani and, your Mughlai dishes could do that, we would have been somewhere else. But yes, it indeed does have a huge impact. Ambassador Verma, we don't have a very clear connection with you, but it was lovely having you today over on the Breakfast Club for this very interesting conversation. Something very different than what we've normally reached out to you for. So thank you for joining us this morning. I do want to also bring in Chef Ruchi Bharani into the conversation and really understand what Indian food stealing hearts worldwide means to the entire industry, to chefs who are actually serving and cooking this food. Ruchi, good morning. Hi. The first thought that you get when you see a foreign delegate, in this case it's the Japanese ambassador to India, eating biryani, enjoying it so much and eating it with his hands, how does it make you feel?
Good morning. It just makes me very, very proud of Indian food and how well and lovingly it is accepted throughout the world and by all the people around the world. And I think it makes us very proud as somebody from this field, who is able to also, in a small way, at least spread Indian food all around the world, which is amazing. And the best part, he was trying to eat it with hand because obviously it's part of our culture and they were embracing the culture so openly. And in Ayurveda and spiritually also it's said that, food should be eaten with the hands because it tends to create a connect with your mind and the food. So it was really nice for them to accept our culture and enjoy it.
So when someone does this, Ruchi, what they're essentially doing is they're not just conveying to you or the chef or the person behind that wonderful dish we see. They're not just saying that it's tasty. They're also showing, in a way, some trust that they're placing in you, right?
Yes, not just trust, but also respect. Respect for the food, respect for the culture, respect for the person who's put in so much effort to bring that plate on the table. So most definitely, yes.
We see a lot of Indian chefs running Michelin-starred kitchens worldwide, New York, Paris, Dubai, you name it. Do you think that story is evolving each passing year and that is playing a key role in how Indian food is reaching people across the world?
Most definitely, the way the Indian chefs are promoting and cooking, and the kind of innovation they are doing with the Indian food, trying to keep the tradition alive with a little bit of modern twist, is very well accepted, around across the world. And I think that is the key reason why Indian food is catching so much fame and love. And yeah.
As a chef, Ruchi, very quickly, we need to wrap up. We're short of time. But we've seen India, for instance, turn millets, which is a millet staple, into a climate champion. The Prime Minister ensured that during G20 in 2023, the menu is curated around millet dishes. When that happens, what does it really mean for the food story in India, and how much of a role does that play? Because no one would have thought that this would be featured on the menu when the big world leaders, top world leaders are in India, no?
Well, our Prime Minister is taking us back to the roots by embracing millets and trying to bring it on, not just back onto our local tables, but also worldwide, because I think it is extremely healthy, of course, and it was much needed, because it deserved to be coming back and accepted and not forgotten with just the modern way of living. So I think it's an amazing way of bringing our roots back onto the table.
Ruchi, thank you so much for joining us, and really, for people like you who continue to be the real heroes behind this story and actually taking Indian foods worldwide. Thank you for joining us on The Breakfast Club.
Thank you so much.
We head into a very short break. With that, on the other side, we're joined by a person of interest, the pioneer of newborn care in India, Dr. Armida, and Padma Awardee for her lifelong contribution to medicine. We'll be going over to her in just a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So this just in, viewers, that President Donald Trump has said that he would charge a 50% tariff on aircraft from Canada sold in the US and decertify all planes made in that country until Ottawa agreed to approve certain jets made by Gulfstream, a unit of General Dynamics Corp. Trump said Canada had wrongfully, illegally and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700 and 800 jets in a social media post on Thursday. In response, he said the US would decertify Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified. So, Akansha, back to you. Again, it's very important to clarify, does Trump, of course, as the president, have the authority to decertify foreign-made aircraft, and what role would US aviation regulators play in this move, honestly?
So, for the benefit of our viewers, Sukanya, let's tell them what are these Canada-based brands. You're looking at Bombardier and Gulfstream are currently heavy competitors in this business jet market, and he's talking about decertifying the Gulfstream jets, including the Gulfstream 450, 350, 550 and 6, even G500. They have been also certified by Transport Canada to some degree. This is according to the company's website. Now, the interesting part about what you asked is that, it is in fact the Federal Aviation Administration, run by a Trump appointee, which is responsible for certifying the aircraft to operate in the US airspace. So it is still fairly unclear in terms of what Donald Trump means when he's talking about decertifying these planes. But Canada is, according to him, effectively prohibiting the sale of Gulfstream products in their country through this very same certification process. And this is what Trump has said, that if for any reason this situation is not immediately corrected, he's going to charge Canada a whopping 50% tariff on any and all aircraft that are being sold by Canada into the United States of America. So he's, of course, as far as these Canadian aircraft are concerned, these are the latest to bite the dust in the US-Canada trade war, as the US president is now threatening to slap this 50% tariff on all Canadian aircraft. And we'll have to see how far this goes. But he's also spoken about one of the greatest, most technologically advanced airplanes ever made. And he's saying that by decertifying their Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified. So we'll have to see how this is now going to shape up. Who is going to exactly be responsible and what is his definition of decertification? But remember, the political tensions between both the countries have already heightened ever since Donald Trump arrived in the White House, and as did Mark Carney. So we'll have to see how this goes further, because it all began with Trump, in fact, mocking Canada. This was even when Trudeau was in power, and he referred to how Canada deserves to become the 51st state of the United States. And tensions have, in fact, peaked ever since Davos happened, and Mark Carney did not mince any words, and he stood up to the U.S. president, and he's also mocked his trade policies so far. So we'll have to see how that actually shapes up, because Carney's speech at the World Economic Forum gained much international attention, as also being seen as a rejection of Donald Trump's foreign policy tactics. So since then, Trump has, of course, been viewing Canada as more of an adversary than an ally. And he's gone on to say that Canada lives because of the United States, and resigned an invitation for Mark Carney to join his Board of Peace initiative for Gaza as well. So these Gulfstream jets are the latest as far as Donald Trump's trade policy is concerned. And we'll have to see, and we are waiting a reaction to come in from the Canadian administration under Mark Carney to see how they respond to this threat of a 50% tariff yet again.
Right, Akansha, thank you so much for sharing your crucial input with us and for helping us making sense of all the statements that the US has been making lately. And with that, we're slipping into a very short break, viewers. You're watching CNN News 18. We'll be back with more stories. Stay tuned.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So this just in, viewers, that President Donald Trump has said that he would charge a 50% tariff on aircraft from Canada sold in the US and decertify all planes made in that country until Ottawa agreed to approve certain jets made by Gulfstream, a unit of General Dynamics Corp. Trump said Canada had wrongfully, illegally and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700 and 800 jets in a social media post on Thursday. In response, he said the US would decertify Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, a great American company, is fully certified. So, Akansha, back to you. Again, it's very important to clarify, does Trump, of course, as the president, have the authority to decertify foreign-made aircraft, and what role would US aviation regulators play in this move, honestly?
So, for the benefit of our viewers, Kanya, let's tell them what are these Canada-based brands. You're looking at Bombardier and Gulfstream are currently heavy competitors in this business jet market, and he's talking about decertifying the Gulfstream jets, including the Gulfstream 450, 350, 550 and 6, even G500. They have been also certified by Transport Canada to some degree. This is according to the company's website. Now, the interesting part about what you asked is that, it is in fact the Federal Aviation Administration run by a Trump appointee, which is responsible for certifying the aircraft to operate in the US airspace. So it is still fairly unclear in terms of what Donald Trump means when he's talking about decertifying these planes. But Canada...
Welcome back. She dedicated her career to improving neonatal survival rates and supporting vulnerable communities. Our person of interest today is Dr. Armida Fernandez, a Padma Awardee for lifelong contribution to medicine. Dr. Fernandez is best known for setting up Asia's first human milk bank at Mumbai's Sion Hospital. At a time when idea was unfamiliar still, was resisted by many, she pushed forward, believing that donated breast milk could save premature and vulnerable babies. Her work went beyond just working in hospitals. Through community health initiatives, she focused on maternal care, nutrition and newborn survival among the most undeserved families. This Padma honor recognizes a lifetime spent putting newborn lives first. Let's bring her in this morning. Good morning, Dr. Armida. Thank you so much for being with us. First up, heartiest congratulations on the Padma Shri Award. What does this mean to you? What does receiving the Padma Shri mean to you, both personally and professionally?
Okay, shall I tell you what it means to me personally first? Obviously I'm honored. When you get a national award and in the country, I feel very honored. And also personally, I feel that, I have always worked departments in neonatology, or the work I now do in my NGO Sneha. It's with the entire staff and people around and lots of volunteers. So sometimes I feel, this award shouldn't be for one person, it should be for the work you do. So actually it's a shared recognition for all the people who have helped me and worked with me all along. So that's what I feel.
Dr. Fernandez, what inspired you to focus on neonatology and more specifically on establishing a human milk bank? Back in 1989, not many people were open to the idea.
Okay, when I joined Sion Hospital, it was a municipal medical college with the poorest and the sickest and the dying babies that were brought there, and mothers came in late. So the neonatal mortality was very high. And I had to reduce the neonatal mortality. And I found out what the first way is to find out why they died. And there were other causes, but one of the cause was the milk they had, formula milk, animal milk with bottles. They got diarrhea, sepsis and died. And I said, I need to change that, and I got rid of the bottles and the animal formula milk and put the mothers only on exclusive breast milk. And to make it absolutely safe, I learned in Oxford that we should have the only way to make sure it is a scientific method was to start a human milk bank, and that's what I did finally.
Okay, back in 1989, we do know what the common person's perception was or their take was on human bank milk. What was the initial reaction from the medical community and mothers?
I think because we dealt with people from around the slums, the reaction of the mothers was fine, and they all accepted. And then our Indian mothers, when they see a baby crying or need milk, they are happy to give. So there was, and to make sure that happened, a nurse from our hospital who did the MSc did research on this. Out of 100 mothers, only one said she was uncomfortable. But 99 were absolutely. So that was the reaction of the mothers at that time. And if you ask me colleagues, I think many of my colleagues doubted what I did. And actually the parliament, the question was put up in the parliament on how can you have a human milk bank, and someone from Delhi came to check on what I was doing. So I think the doctors, to some of them accepted, or not sure, but they'd not been through it before. So we were worried at that point of time.
And today in 2026, Dr. Fernandez, what are some misconceptions about milk banking and donor breast milk that you'd like to address?
Yes, the misconceptions are that so many people say, oh, another mother's milk, as though it was a shocking statement. And to convince lay people and authorities, especially to get staff, I have to tell them, you're having another mammal's milk, but you don't want another mother's milk. And the second thing that helped me, a statement I made, I said, wet nursing is common in our country. Even Krishna was wet nurse. So when you make statements like that, they sit up and say, yes, this probably can be done.
Doctor, also, what are the biggest unmet needs in newborn nutrition? You've tracked this journey for decades now. What are the main needs and care that you'd like to see addressed in the next decade?
You know what? I think what is the thing that has to be, we've been trying, I think it's not only, we're talking about exclusive breastfeeding, early breastfeeding, across the country. We're working very hard. So if basically mothers, hospitals, it's just mothers, but in the hospitals, as soon as the baby is born, the baby has to be put on the mother's chest. There's, bonding that occurs, and as soon as the baby, within the first 2 hours, the baby must be put to the breast so that early suckling happens, so there's enough breast milk. And then exclusively feed, not even water, nothing else. And more. And the mothers, the hospitals need to follow these rules, and the mothers must make the effort, and they should be supported by the families, by the doctors, by the society as a whole, to their families, close families, and the society to breastfeed their babies. I think that needs to be done, because in newborns we only give human milk. There's no other nutritional factors that we're talking.
Dr. Fernandez, now tell us, you've dedicated your entire life to this cause. You started with the hospital, you moved to community level. What next?
You know what? I started with the promotion of breastfeeding, which I did for many years, then milk banking. But the last 26 years, I moved from the hospital to the community. I started the NEHA, Society for Nutrition, Education and Health Action, where we work across the slums on many issues of mothers and babies. We do a life cycle approach: maternal health, neonatal health, child health, adolescent health, and most important, with something that impacts all women in our country, we work on violence against women. So 26 years now, post-retirement, and that's what Sneha does across the urban communities. We started in Mumbai, but we're going out as well, other cities and other states, and even more recently. So the most recent is we're looking at palliative care. I lost my child to cancer 13 years ago. I didn't know about palliative care, and she suffered, we suffered. After that, I found there is palliative care where we can save the lives of, save the suffering of the patient and the relative.
Dr. Fernandez, we were playing out these wonderful visuals of Sneha, the initiative, and how many women, how many children are connected with you through Sneha. You've built so many institutions over the years, and at some point in time, you've let go of it and handed it over to others. Was that easy? We need to wrap up, but I genuinely wanted to ask you this.
What we should remember that we can't, if we want...
One second, Dr.
Sorry, go ahead.
Now someone must make sure that when you're not there, that baby will be looked after. And I think that's exactly what I've done with the milk bank, with Sneha. I know that I can't be there forever. I'm a very young person, 82. So even when I first started, I said, if it has to continue, I must make sure we get good people. I've been said, I always say, God holds my hand and takes me forward. I have great faith. You've sent me the best of people to not only look after what I've started, but take it to a different level. So I think that's what all founders must remember, that you have to hand over when you're still there, find the right people, and they will do. And most of my projects really have done better I have after I have moved on.
I'm not so sure about that, but thank you for being so humble and grounded and for being so honest with us here on the Breakfast Club, and many congratulations once again. Okay, with that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. We'll be right back. We're not done as yet. See you in a bit.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
So this just in, viewers, that President Donald Trump has said that he would charge a 50% tariff on aircraft from Canada sold in the US and decertify all planes made in that country until Ottawa agreed to approve certain jets made by Gulfstream, a unit of General Dynamics Corp. Trump said Canada had wrongfully, illegally and steadfastly refused to certify the Gulfstream 500, 600, 700 and 800 jets in a social media post on Thursday. In response, he said the US would decertify Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada